Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Pro, where fairness meets leadership and wellness meets purpose. I'm your host, Dr. Wilhelmina, and I'm so excited because I have a guest today that I know pretty well, and I've been wanting to have her on my podcast, and she is here. Her name is Helen Noel, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. Helen?
Good evening. I'm
Good
Helen Noel.
evening.
I'm,
Sorry.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Good evening. I'm Helen Noel, and I'm a retired Chief Master Sergeant. I retired from the Air Force in 2009. After I retired from the military, well, actually, let's back that up. While I was on active duty, I wrote a book, 7 Days in the Fire. It's a faith-based book centered around trauma. And shortly after retirement, I became a motivational speaker and I started doing some research and discovered that my family was presumably part of a study conducted by the Public Health Service. I went on to begin to research the actual study and everything that it involved, and I've been pursuing justice since I retired. And I also stood up a company, Talk Story Incorporated, to educate and bring awareness to the Rosenwald Fund study and to promote wellness. That's me in a nutshell.
Yay. You know, I was talking to a friend today about, well, she was telling me about the stuff going on in Minnesota with the guy that got killed today. So we were just kind of talking about that. And I was reminding her that, these kind of things that have went on with lies and not being truths coming out were done for a long time. They've always been done in this country, and not to be political or anything here, but I was reminding her about the Rosenwald study, which she never had even heard about. So I was telling her about you and told her to look you up. There's plenty of information out there on it, and yeah, and she just didn't know. There's not very many people that know about it out there. So I really get inspired when I hear you talk about it or get on Zooms or looking at the information you put out on it, because we don't really know so much about Rosenwald. We know about other studies, but not really that one. So I just wanted to say I appreciate you going into that study, and there are many of us that our families could have been a part of that study and we just don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I brought you here because I want to talk about leadership, because while I was in the military and you were my supervisor, you were an excellent leader. You motivated me. You got me to do things that I never even thought about doing, and I was just kind of existing, doing what I had to do, what I thought I needed to do. But you brought another perspective to everything. You were a great leader and inspirational. And I just wanted to spread some of that to others that are hearing the podcast. So,
Oh,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying
It's true.
that.
So the thing is, when I do this podcast, I talk about leadership and leading well. And it's always from a perspective of wellness, the leader being well, taking care of themselves so that they can lead others and be fair in their treatment with others because they're in a good place themselves. So I just have a question for you.
Sure.
And that is, in the past or even now, because you lead in your community and you're a leader in your family. You're not necessarily working in an environment like I work in, where you're leading employees, but you are a leader. And I want to know if there are tools or ideas that have helped you in staying well.
Well, first and foremost, always coming from a spiritual perspective because I believe in making sure that you are well spiritually so that you can help people to become better because as the saying goes, hurt people and
Yeah.
heal people. And I think that there are a lot of people who are hurting, and because of that, I don't think that they're as effective as leaders because they haven't necessarily done the work themselves to make sure that they're well so that they can make others well. So I
Mhm.
think that's very important just from a spiritual perspective as a whole. And then also, for the mental and the physical, just making sure that, for me and my company, Talk Story Incorporated, I think that talking is a vital part of the healing process. Just to have opportunities to share information because a lot of times, we assume that people automatically know things, or are thinking certain things. But a lot of times, when you create that safe space for communication, it opens the door for other things, especially for healing. So I think that talking in and of itself is a vital part of wellness. And then also for the physical, depending on what it is that you do, if it's, enjoying the gym, walking, dancing, just doing something to always be on the move, so to speak, be a mover and a shaker. So I think that all of those are very important.
I would agree with you definitely because you talked about the physical, the mental, and the emotional there, and they all are very important. And spiritual, you talked about that too, and they are very important. And I think that people don't necessarily turn inward and think about how they're affecting the people that they're around, whether they're employees or community teams or in the family. They can tend to think about they're just making it and just getting through the struggle, but they need to get that healing while leading. Um, Another question that, or something I wanted to bring up to you was about when I sat in on your one of your talk stories and I talked about the trauma that I experienced. That talk really helped me in putting that in perspective. It's no longer after I talk so intense about it, it's not any longer something that's guiding how I think about my world, just to get out and talk about it. You're so right about the talking.
And I think that's really important. It's good to know that because I think that a lot of times, like I said, when people, especially people who are dealing with different forms of trauma, which America is politically traumatized because of so much that's going on in the world today. But I think that, just when it comes to the personal traumas that, many of us have endured, in life, a lot of people, tend to go to the category of avoidance, where they're not talking about it, they're avoiding it, they're not, speaking about it, they avoid people, places, and things that remind them of that. But in private and a lot of different ways, that trauma manifests itself. It could be through insomnia, you know what I mean, just from overeating, drinking, you name it. So
Mhm.
I think that just that talking piece kind of helps to get the monkey off your back, so to speak.
Right, exactly. I agree with you. There's so many areas that can come out and like it could come out in your relationship, just how you deal with other people and how you talk to them, how you treat them, or what you believe about them. It really gets into even trust and it's just it can be so heavy when you're holding on to things like that.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, too, I think that people don't realize how you form trauma bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Because in relationships, because you have the similarities and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
not even realizing that that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thinking it's a good thing. Stuff starts coming up. And at one point you're like, what do I do? How can I fix this? There's no fixing it. You got to fix yourself. You got to go and get some help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It starts from within.
Yes, it does. So I wanted to talk a little bit about so we talked about how being well and getting the help that you need can help you to navigate these relationships or even as a leadership, a leader, leading well, it helps with that. But are there other things where you've seen, other areas where you've seen benefit from handling these types of situations, going and getting the help and talking about them?
Absolutely. And I think that too, not just from a, when I say spiritual, of course, my first and my means of initially is to seek God. You know, God is
Mhm.
as my counselor. But I think that just from, a professional standpoint as well, there are professional counselors available to help people too. A lot of times, even in families and stuff, just having these conversations, which, I have been doing over the years, just bringing up different traumatic events, even within my own family, and a lot of times it's to bring them to a place where they feel comfortable speaking directly to a professional counselor.
Mhm.
That's what the counselors are there for, to be able to take on those loads and, you know, identify the different therapy and modalities that, may be essential depending on what type of trauma, that person has experienced, but just recognizing that it's okay to seek help, from different angles and different perspectives, if it's through community initiatives, dealing with family members, individually giving them a safe space, to vent. I just think that all of that is a very important piece of overall wellness.
Yeah, we need that ear, that shoulder, or even that professional shoulder. It's difficult that there's always that um, stigma of going to see someone that's not your family member. Somebody just you don't even know, but you're going to get to know a little bit because you're going to go to therapy. But that can be difficult. But the thing about it is, it's someone you can talk to about whatever. You're not being judged, and if you're being judged, you're certainly not going to know. They're not going to tell you. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so they're going to be there for you and talk things out, give you some other perspectives. It's hard to see when you're in the situation those perspectives that you need. So it's yeah, therapy is really good. So I had three questions for you, but one was already answered within the other question. So now, is there anything else you want to tell us about what you're doing that might bring you some more audience, also, and some more people that want to get involved in?
I think that I'm going to. Well, I hosted a in an effort to bring more awareness and to educate more people about this atrocity, the medical atrocity concerning the Rosenwald Fund study. I hosted a gala, Flower Girls Gala, a couple years ago, and basically just bringing women together so that they can share the information. And you can find, I didn't host it last year because a lot of the Flower Girls are federal workers. And
Yeah.
because the current administration was, with all of the issues surrounding the federal workers last year, I didn't
Mhm.
have the gala. And I'm not going to host it again until 2027, next
Mhm.
year, that is. But currently, I'm hosting a support group every month. And you can find additional information on the support group on my website. I'll be adding flyers out there. But you can also just email me at helennoel@bellsouth.net, or you can communicate directly with me on my website at www.talkstoryinc.com.
Well, that would be wonderful. I'm going to attend the next one. I will be there.
Awesome.
I won't have work travel in the way. I'll be retired by then. So,
And the support groups are it's every first Friday of the month. And as a matter of
oh yeah,
fact,
yeah. Okay.
send information
Yeah,
out.
definitely. I haven't attended one of those yet, but I do plan on it.
Yes, that's
It's just
primarily what I'm doing is
okay.
the support
Okay.
group every month, and then I'll probably start planning for the gala. I'm just gonna kind of check with the ladies, the flower girls, to see if they're interested in attending because I realize that there's still a lot going on right now with a lot of different people. So I'm gonna kind of do a survey to find out if people would be interested in attending next year, and if
Hmm.
so, I'll host a gala next year to bring more awareness to it.
Who did you have speak at that first one that you did? I can't remember, but there were people there I wanted to see.
It was the professional harpist, Jeff Majors.
Oh yeah, Jeff Majors. That's right.
Yes, he came and he played the harp and all. We had a wonderful time. We had the gala here in Newport News, and it was
Oh,
over 100 people attended, and it was just well, well attended, and it was just a wonderful opportunity to spread the news. So I'm just, looking at different angles to get the word out. But right now, I'm just kind of, with the Arctic blast and the weather, it's kind of hard to get out there, but I want to go out into the different communities, probably starting in the spring, for the
mhm.
counties that was involved in it, and kind of share information with them and educate them as well.
Now, if I'm a woman that wants to be a part of your girl movement, is there still room for me?
Absolutely. Initially, I started off with 365, and it's close to 400 flower girls now. You can just email me, like I said, or go out to my website, www.talkstoryinc.com, and email me, and or just provide general information from your from the homepage, and let me know that you're interested in knowing more about the flower girls, and I'll gladly educate you and hopefully bring someone else on.
Okay. Well, this is a very short podcast. I usually don't go very long. So I appreciate every bit of the information that you gave us today. And I'm sure it is an inspiration to others. And you are definitely a leader. You're a great leader to me as my supervisor. I thank you. And I have lots of examples to look at and say, oh, yeah, that really helped me. And by the way, on one of my podcasts, I did talk about you. I'm sure you probably haven't heard it. It was recently. And it was about the time I wore those raggedy pants to work.
What raggedy pants?
Well, they were military uniform pants, but they were old. They weren't raggedy. They just really were a little worn. And you kept looking at them, but not like staring. Just kind of looked down, and it just kind of told me, oh, I might need to do something with these. I didn't say who the person was before, but I'm saying it now. It was you.
Oh my goodness.
But I appreciate the gentle way that you let me know. It let me know. I got the message right away, and I could go correct that and throw them away.
you
So,
know and that's all a part, I think, too, of having that emotional intelligence when it comes to leadership,
yes,
and recognizing, that it doesn't matter if you're the leader, or if you're a follower, that people have feelings and emotions, you know what I mean? You need
right,
to respect that, so,
right,
I think that it's really important to be kind as a leader,
right.
because you will want the same in return. So I
Exactly.
never, led from a point of, not leading by example, because I would want my leadership to treat me like I wanted to be treated, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
same vice versa. So, you get what you put out. It comes back
connection
at
is.
you.
My connection was lost for a second there.
Oh wow.
I missed, and then you kind of went away. I'm surprised. I usually have a really good connection here. So again, if there any part of that that you want to finish that you got cut off on,
Nope. I just basically want to say lead by example and be the leader and the change agent that you want to see.
that's right. Okay, well, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate you
welcome.
coming
I
in.
appreciate it, Dr. Wilhelmina. Thank you so much.
Hey, and you have been listening to the Leadership Pro. I'm Dr. Wilhelmina, and I was your host, and Helen Noel was my guest. And you can connect with her through talkstory.com. And I don't remember the email address, but you can connect through that and let her know what you think or what you want to know, or if you want to join any of her endeavors, she'll be there. Thank you again. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.